Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of May. I hope you're well. We're using the Marigold Tarot for you today. Now, if the reading resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended at the end of this. You can find the link down in the description box. I'm a little bit baffled as to what came through in the meditation for you before I started recording. I had a kind of visual of something like doing this, and I don't know if it was like a claw or like a bucket that you would get on a digger, and I just got one word and it was scrape, and I have no idea what it means, none at all. So I'm kind of hoping it will become clearer during the course of this reading, but let's have a look and see anyway. So let's get 3 cards for Aquarius, please. 3 cards for Aquarius. There's the first one. We have the Knight of Cups there. Could I please have current energy for Aquarius? Thank you. We have the 8 of Swords there. And what's coming towards Aquarius for May, please? Thank you. We have the 9 of Swords. Right, don't panic about that. Let's dig into it and see what's going on. We have the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck there, and that often feels like I often describe it as an expansion of the mind by way of new information that's coming in, right? But it feels like what's coming in for you is quite uncomfortable. Now, this could be shadow work, in which case, you know, actually lean into the discomfort. This is a good thing, you know. But it could be something in your external environment. Let's get some clarifiers and we'll see what this is about. I'm just going to go with the standard right away. There we go. Let's close that properly and give these a shuffle. Cut the deck and there's the 9 of Swords in there too. So, tell me about the Knight of Cups, please. Why is that here for Aquarius? Oh, we have 3 cards. We have the 7 of Wands, we have the Fool, and we have the 10 of Wands too. It's definitely got a feel about it, this reading. Tell me about the 8 of Swords, please. We have the Emperor and the Knight of Cups together. It's Aries energy twice now in the major arcanas that are on the table with the Fool and the Emperor. Tell me about the 9 of Swords, please. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. And we have the Ace of Cups in reverse as well. Let me see that. Actually, the light's shining on it. Uncomfortable way. We have the World card at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Hierophant. And it feels to me a lot like what is uncomfortable about this reading is an inability to bring about a new start in something, right? There are steps here that it seems like you're wanting to take, but it also seems like those steps are being thwarted in some way or another, right? So the very first card that we've got is the Knight of Cups, and this is, you know, actually replicated because we've got it appearing twice here. It's Piscean energy, and it's very much about how you go out into the world with your cup, right? That's how I see it. You can give that cup to other people, but it can also talk in return about how you accept that coming in, although I see that more as a kind of Queen of Cups sort of thing. The interesting thing about this, though, is in the Marigold, which is a dark deck, and it's interesting that that should have been the one that came up here, all of the cups are depicted by skulls, right? And so we have a horn suspended above the skull that kind of looks like it's dripping in, and a horn for me speaks about communication, right? And what's dripping into the skull is dripping out through the eye sockets, right? This skull looks, its head is down, and it's actually looking quite upset about whatever the information is that's coming into its head here, right? Like I said, it's Piscean energy. Or it just feels really difficult. Now, I'm going to kind of elaborate on this in a second, but I just wanted to bring you to the clarifiers. We have the 7 of Wands, we have the Fool, and we have the 10 of Wands. Now, why this Fool should be sat in the middle of all of this wand energy. I don't. Your opposite sign in the zodiac is Leo, and Leo is absolutely ready to flip its biscuits, right? With how frustrated they are with everything that they are trying to do at the moment. It's like it doesn't matter what direction they go in, they're just coming up against brick walls. And there is a need, for some reason or another, for them to stay absolutely stock still at the moment. It's quite the opposite of what they're wanting to do. And the reason that I bring it up is because when you've got this, you know, a sign that is directly opposite you on the zodiac, quite often the energy that is affecting them will also be affecting you in some way or another. So, you know, just as your energy affects them, their energy affects you. Like, we've got something here that's on similar sort of lines. You know, we've got someone who is really wanting to go off in a direction, start anew, start afresh. Begin a new cycle, and we have it being thwarted because we have the Seven of Wands and we have the Ten of Wands flanking this card. Now, the Seven of Wands is often a defensive energy. It's feeling, you know, kind of, actually in this case, it feels kind of sort of defending yourself against universal forces more than anything else, because we have these invisible assailants coming in and kind of poking at you, and you're kind of trying to defend yourself from it. And is it a distraction? Is that what it is, Aquarius? Because it feels like, you know, what you actually want to do is go out into the world. You want to start afresh. You want to be released from something. I don't know where that's coming from, but there is a sense of wanting to be released from something so that you can, you know, just walk this path. But then we've got this other person who is also occupying this high ground that we see here with the Fool, where the Fool is looking up, and the Fool is you know, working on faith and trust and being guided by the universe. He doesn't need to look at his feet. This person here is kind of having a look down. It's almost like having to meet people at their level, and you're above that, Aquarius, in whatever way that applies. You know, you're actually having to bring yourself down, or you have had to bring yourself down to other people's level in order to engage with them. And it feels like it's the last thing that you want to be doing at the moment. You know, this is Ten of Wands card here. It's absolute burden. But this is where this kind of distraction seems to be coming from. You know, like, I don't want to be doing this down here. I want to be looking up here. Like, I've been admonished in the comments often by Aquarians for not taking into account the sense of the galactic. And rightly so. Quite rightly so. And it seems to me dreadfully irritating that you're having to look down, you're having to be burdened with these things. And it does feel like your life is full of burden at the moment, right? We've got, you know, fighting and aggression down here and carrying all of these sticks, and none of this is actually what you want to do. It couldn't be further away from what you are wanting to do. Because, you know, you just want to hold a flower in your hand like that, just kind of wander off like this. This is the energy that I'm getting here. And your life seems to have, certainly at least recently, been surrounded by literally anything but the possibility of doing that. Tell me about this Seven of Wands and Ten of Wands, please. We've got the Five of Wands. Yeah. This is, you have been drawn into something. Whether it is, you know, some sort of conflict with other people. It just feels like you've been pulled down by other people's shit at the moment. Like, it doesn't feel like it has a lot to do with you, and yet you are still kind of being brought into it here. Now, this Knight of Cups, about how you take your emotion and you go out into the world, it feels like it's kind of clattering back at you in a way that you didn't anticipate, right? This Knight of Cups energy, which is kind of wanting to go out and wanting to share, which is very Piscean, right? You're wanting to share this cup. It seems like it's been taken and it's been misused by the people around you at the moment. And I know that's quite strong, but that's how it feels. Six of Pentacles, yeah. I feel like there's very little reciprocity here in the situation that you find yourself. And we've got the Knight of Wands as well. Like, I honestly feel like you are surrounded, or you have been surrounded by vexatious people Aquarius. Honestly, people who are a little bit shallow too. And all of this is kind of pulling you away from something bigger that you are trying to engage in, something bigger that you are trying to connect with. Right? We had the World card at the bottom of the deck there. That's a card of closing out cycles, you know, ending things. And that feels to me like something that you are quite comfortable with. But obviously, you know, when you've gone through the Fool's journey all the way to the end, which is the World, you start again with the Fool, but usually, you know, at a higher level. Like this, you step up and then you go through the Fool's journey again, and so on and so forth. And it feels to me a lot like you're kind of stuck. You thought you tied up all sorts of things to do with the old cycle, and you're ready for the new now, but you do feel stuck. Whereas for Leo, it's like it doesn't matter where they're trying to engage with anything, they're stuck. They're just not moving, just here, right? And the conclusion that I've come to throughout the readings here is that there is work that Leo needs to do on themselves. There's work on patience. There's this time that they've been gifted in order to sort some stuff out and lay the groundwork for what comes next. For you, I feel like you've done all of that. I feel like the internal work is also something that you've engaged with quite strongly, and now you are ready to do something that is a bit more than what the people around you are kind of interested in allowing you to do. Vexatious and shallow people is what I'm feeling here. And I feel a desperate need to get away from it all. It actually, you know, segues beautifully into your present energy, because what we have here is the Knight of Swords, the Eight of Swords, a card that symbolizes restriction and stuckness, you know. The important thing about this is that generally is in your own mind, right? We usually, in the standard depiction of this card, we see a woman who is bound, and she has a blindfold on, and she's surrounded by 8 swords, and she's on a beach, you know, she's possibly in danger of being, you know, swept away by the sea. But she's not bound tightly. And this is the thing that she has not quite worked out yet. So if she's not bound tightly, then she can wriggle and she can get her hands free. If she can get her hands free, she can pull the blindfold off and she can actually see what she is doing, you know, around her. She can navigate through those swords. She can get herself off the beach. She can get herself to a place of safety. But what is keeping her stuck is the imperiled situation that she thinks that she's in, rather than the reality of the situation. Right? So she thinks she's stuck, she thinks that she's trapped, and so she will not make any moves. She doesn't know she's on a cliff edge, right? Because she can't see. Her senses are in some way, you know, kind of limited and closed off. And that's where you are at the moment. The interesting thing is, this Marigold set, it's really bizarre. It's an amazing deck my son bought it for me for Christmas a couple of years ago. On Kickstarter, I think. But all of these swords are pointing towards a tooth. Make of that what you will. And in fact, if one would introduce, you know, one of these swords or sharp blades to a tooth, what you would do is scrape it. I don't know where this is coming in, but it is, right? So I don't know if the camera will focus on that, right? Right in the center of there is a tooth, complete with root and everything. Is it a wisdom tooth? It might be. But what it is something that's so fundamentally a part of you. You know, it's literally been there forever. And it feels like there is scraping to do, scraping away from the surface of something, because there's something in your current energy, Aquarius, that you don't quite seem to have noticed, right? There's a way in which you are limited that you don't quite seem to have noticed. And it's because it's such a fundamental part of who you are that you haven't even really noticed that it isn't yours, you know? I've got toothache at the moment. This is really interesting. No, I've got a partial abrupted wisdom tooth. Right? It's been there forever, since I was like 17. And it actually points that way instead of that way. So every now and again it kind of pushes into the teeth in front of it. And I'm sitting here and I'm doing this reading for you with this fucking toothache. And a couple of times over the course of today, I just kind of like mentally plucked it out. Right? I just think, oh, that would be a really good thing to be able to do. Just pull that fucking tooth out. Just with my fingers. I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing, but it would certainly stop it hurting. There's something quite deep going on here with you, Aquarius, and there's something that in some way has been kind of it's been hidden for a long time because it was behaving itself. Just as you don't give a second thought to your teeth while they're absolutely fine, you know, it's the second that they start to hurt that you suddenly, you know, that you're getting, that it brings it to your attention. As to how this relates to where you have found yourself in the recent past, I haven't forgotten about it. So we've got the Seven of Cups in reverse, we've got the Seven of Wands, and we've got the Five of Swords, clarifying the Emperor and this Knight of Cups again. And it feels like there's something really deep here that's niggling at you. You know, it's like a spiritual toothache, an emotional toothache here. It's a dull ache in the background, and it's almost like you haven't quite identified, or maybe you have begun to, but maybe you haven't quite identified exactly the source of it. Right? I know I'm talking in broad abstracts here, but like, you're Aquarius, right? You told me you can deal with this stuff. We've got the Emperor here, and we've got the Knight of Cups. Now, whilst these are, you know, royalty of sorts, both of them, the Emperor is Aries energy, and it deals with control. And there is an issue here with control of emotions, in so much as it's possibly too controlled. It feels like there's something that's trying to come out, there's something trying to come up to the surface for you, Aquarius, so that you can see it, and you're registering it in the background like a dull ache. It's there. But you haven't quite got to the point where you've isolated exactly which spiritual or emotional tooth it is. And maybe it doesn't need to be prized out, but maybe it does need to be scraped in some sort of way, right? There's some shit around this that needs to go. With this Seven of Cups in reverse, it's about the removal of illusion, the removal of confusion for you. And it's possible that you've been controlling something so very, very hard that you haven't really noticed that it's been almost paining you to do so. We've got this Seven of Wands again here, right? It's the second time that it's shown up. Those ways in which you are feeling defensive. And this Seven of Wands is stood in a waterfall. You know, we have the same assailants, invisible assailants coming at you with wands. And we have you in a position of trying to defend yourself. But this time you're actually in the water, you know? Planted yourself very, very firmly. But the fact that we've got this Five of Swords here, which can be a card of getting stuck in cognitive loops, perhaps. If you've been controlling something for such a very long time that you've forgotten that you control it, which is possible, and it's kind of the vibe that I'm getting off here. The way that this is trying to come to the surface, the way that this is trying to make itself known is through discomfort for you. Got the Tower in reverse. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it feels. It's like this long, slow, dull toothache. It's not a sudden, flashy energy where you have this huge epiphany, and things just get wiped out of your life altogether. Like, this is slow. This is building here. I mean, it could come down to the fact that the people that you are surrounded with here, these vexatious, possibly shallow, certainly conflicting people, you know, you're having some sort of subconscious reaction to this. And perhaps it is that you have not exercised good judgment in the people that you surround yourself with, you know? It's very easy to go, well, all of these people are, you know, dicks, and that's why I'm having such a miserable time. But you choose to keep yourself there. You know, you choose to keep engaging with these people. Perhaps you find yourself still communicating with these people, even though you know exactly who they are, because they form a part of your past. You know, they've been there for a while. Two of Wands. We have you being drawn to a crossroads here. I feel like the toothache has got to the point where it cannot be ignored anymore. It needs to be addressed. It can't come in like tower energy because it's been there for a very long time in you, Aquarius. What about this Five of Swords, please? Five of Swords, what are you? We have the Three of Wands. It's time to make a change. We've got the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck here, followed by the Four of Pentacles. You know, holding on to a relationship that isn't right for you. You know, whether that is a romantic relationship or relationships or just the people that are surrounding you. You know, like, why are you holding on to these people if they're giving you fucking toothache, Aquarius? You know, there's a sense here of you being actually held back from the new start, not because you don't deserve it yet or you're not ready for it yet, but because there's one last step that you have to take, and that is a complete assumption of responsibility for not only yourself but the people that you allow in. Because it seems like you're holding people in your life for the wrong reasons at the moment. And at this point, I'm not... Certainly with the way that 2020 went down and 2021 seems to be going down, like there was a big purge of people from lives, right? You know, they didn't fall out with anybody, they just went and they just didn't come back, you know. And this happened all over. This was pulling old people out of the way and making space for the new. And it's almost like this complete assumption of responsibility that you are being asked to take, you know, knowing that you're at a crossroads and then acting to take yourself down a different path involves necessarily moving away from people who put you in this frame of mind, you know. It's not the people that are holding you back, it's your refusal to move away from the people that is holding you back. It is your action that is holding you back. It's Queen of Swords, yeah, it's time to start chopping, Aquarius. But more than that, it's time to start being discerning about the people that you allow around you energetically. There are some energy vampires around you, and that you sense it, you know it, and this is where this dull toothache is coming from. You know, it's like a fester. There's some things festering, and it needs to be scraped out, needs to be scraped away. What's coming towards you in May is the Nine of Swords. Now, as well as following on as it does from the Eight of Swords, it's interesting that we have a lower mandible here with all of the teeth in, right? And we've gone from one tooth being targeted by all of these knives to the whole lower jaw. Because it feels like this is a situation that may get worse if you do not address it, right? scraping of one tooth is one thing, but a complete removal of the jaw is something else. And there's something very interesting here about communication. There are people who are trying to keep you quiet about something. What is that about, Aquarius? You come to the end of the line with a certain set of people and you have not done what you know that you need to, which is move away from them altogether. Because you have something to say and there are people around you who have a vested interest in not only having you not say it, but also not hearing it. Like the silence is wanted here. Now, you don't get to start your full journey, the next step on your, the next level of your fool's journey until you address this. Because we've got the Page of Wands in reverse and we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse, right? So this one is a precursor to movement for me. And it's like you can expect not to move at all if you continue down this road, if you continue not to pay any attention to these things that are around you that are causing this dull kind of ache in you. And there is no potential here. The potential is gone. Just as this Knight of Cups is weeping here with what is coming into their mind, they're like all potential for this to go somewhere has gone. It is time for you to pull yourself out of this, Aquarius. And I don't know what you are in here. I see every aspect to just some, slightly toxic people around you, to things that are deeply uncomfortable and perhaps slightly dangerous. I'm not going to fuck about. This is what I'm feeling. So I've got the Ace of Cups. It's final one. We've got you going off in a different direction. We've got the Empress, we've got the Ace of Pentacles, and we've got the Six of Wands. Like, whatever the situation is that you find yourself in, it is time to move away from it because your destiny lies in a different direction. The first step of the new journey that you are so desperate to take isn't with what surrounds you right now. And there's an element here of needing to cut out, scrape away that which is kind of... It feels like it's energetically clinging to you. That's why I'm talking about emotional vampires here, right? It feels like there's something really fucking stuck on you. And it's so close to you that whilst it might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, like the seat of why it is that you're allowing it to remain is the problem here. That's the key to unlocking the next step on the journey moving forwards. It's not the vampires themselves. It's not these people that are, sticking to you with all their toxic energy, whatever it is. It's about the way that you are allowing it to happen, which is bonkers. Like, it's almost like you're standing in your own way here, Aquarius. You're standing in the way of your own abundance, of your own plans, of everything that you're trying to bring forwards for yourself. You've definitely got something latched onto you here. I don't like it at all. It will get worse unless you deal with it. Now, if I've been talking for however long, 28 minutes, and this is resonating with you, like you understand what this is about, then you need to understand that it is sapping your energy. Whether this is one person, a social group, whatever it is, energy vampires are very real things. We've all met them. Person who just, as soon as you see them, you can feel your energy just plummeting through the floor. Fucking hell, it's this person again. It feels like it's more than one person for you, Aquarius. It feels like there's a number, and you're allowing it to happen. This is what's stopping you from progressing at all. It's time to whip the sword out and start really scything off whatever it is that's sticking to you. What a bizarre reading. Right, I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and unpack this a little bit more, because I think it needs Needs a bit of scraping, needs a bit of digging around in. But it's interesting that the way that the energy is presenting here to me, because it's not often that what is coming towards you is presented in a way as this is what you can expect unless you do something about it now, right? Head this off. It's not like this is what's happening and this is what we're looking forward to. It's like this is going to happen if you don't take evasive maneuvers immediately, right? It's more like do something now in between the present and the rest of May to avoid it. I mean, not to avoid it, to step around this and get yourself where you want to be. Very interesting, right? I'm going to go over to Vimeo now. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.